Miranda Lambert is this. Additionally, Miranda Lambert communicated this to social media followers. Depending on whether or not you believe in seeing the positive in everything, I will highlight the crucial part here. Either this is great news or it is really, really scary news. I'm Addison Hayter, and the brief version of the story is provided below. As she strutted out the door, Miranda Lambert gave up her previous record label, Sony Music Nashville, and did something like a hair flip. On that, more in a moment. However, as she states in that social media post, she has released music here since she was 19 years old. That amounts to 9 albums, 7 hits that reached #1, more ACM awards than any other person, 7 CMA Female Vocalist of the Year awards, and a place in the Country Music Hall of Fame that is almost guarded. Why would you just break up with that kind of relationship? This is my first inquiry to Billy Dukes, who is currently present to address 5 pressing concerns. Hey, Billy, hello. The why now section is fairly simple. When a certain number of albums are delivered, artists and record labels either renegotiate their contracts or do not. Have you? Why then? Additionally, this does not count as my second question. Okay, that's fair. Value is more important than money in this case. Sony and Miranda almost certainly negotiated, and either she or they got what she wanted. What's more, frequently specialists need a more prominent portion of benefits, or they need to begin to procure their back index so they can get full responsibility for old records, which they can feel free to offer to the most elevated bidder, similar to Jason Aldean and Blake Shelton have done as of late. When it comes to veteran artists, labels are hesitant to do this, especially if they believe that the artist's most profitable days are behind them. Brad Paisley, Carrie Underwood, and Kenny Chesney have all left Sony in recent years. This pattern of focusing on younger artists with first contracts continues with Miranda. According to Billboard, she released her statement without informing Sony, which surprised the label a little bit. This may have irritated her a little bit. You behave in that manner. When you suddenly become somewhat agitated, I'd love to hear how that has turned out for those artists, but my next question is the big, scary one. Is this a sign that she has stopped making country music? Zero chance. Miranda is a musician who will always produce music in some capacity. A superior inquiry may be as though Miranda Lambert is finished delivering radio singles and doing the entire thing. Okay, well, if you're appreciative, I can give this video a little thumbs up. Also, tell us what you think of Miranda Lambert. Bolting in the section for comments below. Any forecasts? Billy, how likely is it that she will launch her own record label? Very small. Here's why. Miranda Lambert has never worked hard in the music industry. She is more well known to us as a songwriter with a right brain and as a friend of other artists than as someone who plans to sit at the front of a boardroom and make decisions for a group of employees before attempting to negotiate agreements with Spotify, Pandora, and other music streaming services. To be honest, that sounds like a lot more stress than she needs. She is somewhat of a wanderer, a cowgirl, and a free spirit. Her previous business transactions have typically involved licensing agreements or charitable endeavors. I need to be truly clear here. Although Miranda Lambert is a formidable and dedicated woman, she is not that kind of woman. Brandi Carlile, in my opinion, is an example of the latter. Before I ask you the obvious, I'd like to know if anyone else has switched record labels after 20 years and what the outcomes have been. That, in my opinion, is probably the most significant query. In addition, if it has been 20 years, an artist is likely close to 40 or older, which historically corresponds to a decline in radio success, award show wins, etc. Ageism is a term you can use, and it almost certainly applies to women, but it has always been the case. Nonetheless, since switching from Curb to Big Machine about a decade ago, an artist like Tim McGraw has maintained a very strong place in the culture of country music. Despite several #1 singles and no awards, he still headlines tours and has records in the top 10. Kenny Chesney was mentioned, and he has released 2 albums on Warner since leaving Sony. They have 4 top 5 singles as a result, and he has not slowed down on tour. Although she won ACM Entertainer of the Year in 2020, Carrie Underwood hasn't reached #1 since leaving Sony. It is extremely difficult to locate an illustration of a superstar artist who switched labels and then vanished. So inhale simple, Miranda Lambert fans. She will continue to be played on country radio for us. Okay, the last thing I want to ask you is, where do you think she'll end up? Group of Big Machine labels, that's my prediction. They only have one female artist with a hit right now, Carly Pearce. Tim McGraw has demonstrated their ability to promote an artist over 40. In November, Miranda will turn 40. Big Machine is known for giving artists a lot of creative leeway, and in the past, they've used unconventional strategies to win. It is important to note that this probably won't change Pistol Annie's. Their agreement ought to operate independently of Miranda's solo artist agreement. The trio is still signed to Sony Music National.